Hi everyone, thank you for coming to this session at the end of the day. I think half of the people in this room are Art Fund staff, so thanks for supporting. But hopefully there's lots of you at home as well joining online. I know that I don't know about everybody else, but after 2 days of non-stop talking and kind of absorbing some really great sessions, I'm just going to give you a brief overview of Art Fund, what we do, how we can support, and how we can help you grow audiences as well. And it's just a 20-minute session, and then we can have a little breather before we go to the keynote. So, I am Merrin Kalinowski, so I'm the Museum Relationship Marketing Manager at Art Fund. I manage our crowdfunding platform, Art Happens, and our ticketing platform, Art Tickets. And I also work across our network of 800 plus museums. So if you're a marketing manager in a museum, I've probably spoken to you at some point. So I'm going to just begin by giving a little bit of an overview of who we are and what we do at Art Fund. So apologies to anyone who has come and chatted to us at our stand, because you've probably already had this spiel, but hopefully I'll go into a little bit more detail. So Art Fund is a charity, so we raise money to support museums and galleries, and our key income stream comes from our members. So without our members, we wouldn't be able to do what we do and support museums in the way that we do. We have 130,000 members who visit museums and galleries with their National Art Pass. And to thank them for their generous support, our museum partners allow them in for either free entry or 50% off entry to see the works that they've supported, see exhibitions that they've supported. This also means that we have a kind of ready, primed, art-loving audience who love to hear about the museums and galleries where they can use their National Art Pass, and love to hear about the work that we've supported and the things that they can see in your amazing venues. So as well as giving grants, we can kind of help our museum partners reach new visitors by sharing content about your exhibitions, your events, and your venues. And we share those kind of across all of our channels to inspire our members to visit. But beyond that, we also have quite a large audience of people who just use Art Fund channels to kind of find out what's good, what's on, where they can go and visit if they're visiting a certain city, what exhibitions are on, and things like that. So as well as visiting, our members love spending time in the cafe and the shop. So we know that there's kind of quite a lot of secondary spend as well. So our members, when we're kind of driving them to your museums, we know that they love to visit with a friend. We know that they love to kind of have a little bit of retail therapy in your shops as well. We also have our Student Art Pass. So this is obviously aimed directly at students. So for just £5 a year, the aim of that is to kind of remove the cost barrier to visiting exhibitions and paid for venues for students. So we currently have 20,000 student members, and we've developed kind of bespoke content for this audience. So we've created a website, e-newsletter, and social media channels that speak directly to that student audience. And this is really to kind of help them feel more engaged and included and involved with the world of culture, and to kind of speak in a way that really speaks to them and not just assume that they're going to engage with content that we're sharing across our other channels. And kind of beyond that, so we've got this really great student audience, so we really wanted to help museums to kind of harness that as well. And we have student opportunities grants, which for up to £10,000 you can kind of apply for if there's a project that you want to do where you want to work with a student. So it's really beneficial for both museums and galleries. Museums and students even. And there's a range of really exciting and transformative ways in which you can kind of work together. So students can explore an interest in the arts alongside future career options, while providing organisations with a really skilled and accountable resource. Working with students has definitely helped us, so we've put that into practice as well, and that's kind of how we've developed our channels for students. And we know that museums that we've worked with, it's kind of really helped to build knowledge of kind of how to effectively engage youth student audiences by working directly with them, develop a wider and more diverse range of voices within their organisations, and to kind of help diversify the whole cultural sector by creating a fit for purpose and engaged workforce. In general, we're really passionate about the kind of power of creativity and the importance of arts for younger generations. So you may have seen at the moment we're running a campaign to raise £1 million to support programmes within museums for young people and children. And we also have our flexible National Art Pass, which is called our Plus Kids, that just makes visiting with families and getting children into museums more flexible as well. So we, as Art Fund, are probably best known for our acquisition grants and support for collections in museums. I don't know if anybody came to Sarah's talk earlier, but she was talking about how we've really kind of diversified that and been more flexible over the last 18 months, definitely. But also, I would say over the last 5 years, we've really grown our programme of support. We know that collections are still really incredibly important to our partners, and they make the base of a lot of the work that you're doing and a lot of the content that you're creating as well. So we'll definitely be kind of continuing to fund that, and our kind of curatorial development, networks and sharing of collections, that's all funding support that's available from Art Fund. But through the pandemic, we obviously saw that there was need for kind of more flexibility. And as Sarah mentioned earlier in her talk, we were in consultation with the sector the whole way through. So we were able to really quickly flex our small projects to support museums like Ditchling, who ran a really great project called Create to Relate. So we were really looking at projects that were kind of focused digitally and about kind of engaging audiences digitally while spaces were obviously closed. So Ditchling's programme was around kind of creating an online programme of talks, workshops and events that were led by artists, craft people and historians. So they were really aimed at audiences unable to visit during the lockdown. We also supported, so you can, I have not been clicking through my slides, sorry. Let me do that now. National Art Pass, here we are. Young audiences, respond and reimagine. So, here you can see now, finally, this is a project that we supported at the National Video Game Museum. And this was a project that was kind of key digital development, facilitating collections and access and online learning as well across their collection. We also supported the Foundling Museum, who received £37,000 focus on a really hyper-local project to build new partnerships. So we definitely found over the last 18 months that a lot of museums were obviously kind of looking at digital engagement and digital audiences because spaces were closed, but also really looking at building that kind of hyper-local audience and engaging with partners in a very different way on a more local level, because obviously post-lockdown, when they were able to open again, or even just kind of looking around communities, it was those people who were kind of there ready to reach and people weren't able to travel yet. So let me remember to, there we go. Oh no, I'm going the wrong way. There we go. So as well as this, we are very much advocates for museums. So whether that is campaigning for policy change or raising money to support you through tough times. So last year we raised £1 million with our Together for Museums crowdfunding campaign, and we used this money to boost our funding programme and put that back into our Respond and Reimagine grants, which were the kind of really flexible grants that we launched after consultation with the museum sector back in May 2020. And they were sort of designed to be way more flexible. But definitely one of our key objectives at the moment is to kind of help get people back into museums and get them back through the door. So that's really where it comes into kind of how we can help you engage with audiences. One of the ways that we do this is working with our partners to create really great content. So this is an example of one of the pieces of content that we create called Meet Me at the Museum, which is our podcast. So we've just released our series 6 of Meet Me at the Museum. So the premise is that a celebrity visits their favourite museum with a friend. So far we've had Jack Lowden, pictured here, who met his friend Andrew Rosny at National Museum Scotland. We've also had Lolita Chakrabarti visit Horniman, and Caleb Azuma-Nelson go to Bristol Museum and Art Gallery. So it's one of the things that we work really closely with some of our partners to create this really great content and kind of highlight how amazing their buildings are, their collections are, and kind of get the word out there and encourage people to visit. Alongside Meet Me at the Museum, we also have our Art Pass Recommends films, which really kind of highlight museum spaces and collections. And we're also working on kind of more snackable content for social media. But all of these things we couldn't do without our partners. We work really closely with our partners to kind of create this really great content that really shows off their space and what they do. As well as this, we also have our digital platforms, which have played a really big part in our support for museums over the last 18 months and have helped museums to kind of engage people online as well. So one of them is our tickets platform. So we have a free-to-use ticketing platform. It's designed for kind of small to medium-sized museums who maybe don't have the resource to kind of use one of the bigger providers or need something just really simple to use. This has been amazing, obviously, kind of during the pandemic when people really needed to think about kind of visitor flow and ticketed entry, track and trace and all of those things. But now it's been even more amazing because it's actually really helped museums to get some data. So whereas before you may have had a free-to-all venue and maybe you did no ticketing or you perhaps used Eventbrite every so often for an event, there's now a resource there to kind of get that ticketing set up that's really, really easy to use, but then also be collecting some of that data. So that data includes kind of opt-in data. So they've really noticed that kind of their e-newsletters have grown in size of sign-ups, for example. But also kind of just finding out where your visitors are coming from, kind of what time they want to book. There's some really interesting kind of stats that we can find within our tickets itself. But then we've kind of taken that a step further, and some of you, I think, have stayed in the room, so you may have been here for Anne's talk a moment ago. So we've partnered with the audience agency, and Art Tickets now integrates with Audience Finder. So that's going to give you even a whole other level of data, so that you can kind of really get to know your audiences better, and have some data to really back that up as well, which obviously feeds into kind of your marketing plans, your business strategies, and also those crucial kind of applications for grant giving as well. Which is why it's all a nice circle. So we're helping you to get that data, we can help you reach new audiences, and we can also give you funding as well. And all of that data is going to go into making you kind of create a better application. So as well as that, we also have our, haven't been clicking through again, sorry. So we also have our Art Happens crowdfunding platform. Which again kind of plays into that idea of if you can get that data and you know your audiences really, really well, you can kind of take that to the next step and turn those people who perhaps engage with you on social media, love what you're doing, visit you regularly, you can then turn them into donors and supporters and kind of engage those on a different level. Art Happens is, as well as Art Tickets, it's completely free to use. So we cover the cost of your campaign film and your rewards as well. And then we would work really closely with you to kind of support you in running that campaign and also push that out across our channels so you're reaching our audiences as well. I have 5 minutes left and I've actually just got to the last slide, so that's quite well timed, and then we should have a couple of minutes for questions. So just to kind of wrap that up, if you're not already in the network, you can kind of get involved by joining the National Art Pass network. All you need to do that is to give our members an offer. So if you are charged entry, it might be 50% off entry. If you're a free-to-all venue and you have 10% off in your gift shop or cafe, you can join the network and we can start promoting you to our audiences. And you'll be in our lovely art map, and we can share you across all of our channels. And if you are already in the network and you're hearing all of this and thinking, I am in the network, I know I give your members an offer, but I don't think you're promoting me, then just get in touch and keep talking to us, share your goals with us, share your key priorities, your kind of big exhibitions. We really want to hear from you, and I think the last 18 months has been such a busy, strange, challenging time. So really our key message here is come and talk to us. Don't forget that we're here to support you. And that support isn't just about funding. It's also our kind of marketing support as well and kind of helping you to reach those audiences. So have we got any questions? Yeah.
We have a question from online from Stacey Bagdi. I'm sorry if I'm saying your name incorrectly. I would love to seek art fund funding, but as a local authority museum, I never feel that we fit in and struggle to come up with suitable projects. Have you got any case studies for local authority museums?
Yes, we do. So we work with a lot of local authority museums. We work with them in a variety of ways, so whether that is the funding, whether that is through an Art Happens crowdfunding campaign. We've worked with, for example, Leeds Art Gallery, Norfolk Museums, to run Art Happens campaigns to kind of raise money for exhibitions that they want to put on, for example, and they also use art tickets. So yeah, there's definitely, I would say just email us and we can talk about how we can help.
No. Oh, hello.
Hi.
My name's Catherine. I'm the director at the Brunel Museum, and we're using art tickets. It's brilliant. We've got data. I love it. It's amazing. I didn't know about the link to audience agency, so I was just wondering if you could say how can I start using that to get even more data?
Yeah. So that is really new. So we will definitely be in touch with all of our Art Tickets partners, everyone who's using Art Tickets. Basically, we're running a series of workshops. So we've got one coming up, but we're kind of trying to phase everybody onto it just so that we can kind of manage to make sure that we're kind of turning everybody onto it. But it's really, really simple in that it's just, if you want to use it, we switch it on and it happens. But we are going to be having some workshops with the audience agency in partnership to talk in more detail about that. Yeah.
Thank you for that. That was very helpful. Could you just talk a little bit more about your crowdfunding platform and how successful it is and what you need for it and so on? Yeah,
thanks, Sue. So we've been running Art Happens since 2015. We've since run 53 successful Art Happens projects, and we've raised kind of over £1 million for museum projects. They really vary from anything from kind of £10,000 for a really specific project, like putting on an exhibition or maybe conserving a piece, to last year we raised £160,000 for Charleston to help them reopen in spring. We've also used the platform ourselves to run Together for Museums, where we raised £1 million, and Prospect Cottage for where we raised £3.5 million. Like looking at Rachel in the back to check I'm right. £3.2 million. So yes, we have a really high success rate. So we have a 97% success rate on the platform. But I think a lot of that has to do with we work really closely with museums to make sure that it's kind of the right sort of project for crowdfunding, that you have the resource to be able to run a crowdfunding campaign in terms of kind of recognising who your audiences are, how you're going to reach them, what your proposition is as well for the project. And then we support kind of throughout in terms of literally, I'm going to be cut off online, so I'm gone, but I'll carry on talking to you all. So yeah, we cover the cost for kind of producing your rewards, producing your campaign films, and we would work really closely with you to kind of help you to develop your campaign as well.
Hello, I'm Sarah Hardy from the De Morgan Collection, and by virtue of being a collection, we don't actually have our own museum space. We work within other museum buildings. So I don't have a shop, and we are free. So if we join the Art Pass network, can I do that?
That's a really good question. Are you based at Watts Gallery still?
Sort of. So
Yeah.
we've just got working towards accreditation space with our site at Barnsley Museums. So yes, we have
that's
now
exciting.
3 long-term partnerships.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting question. I know we've talked to you in the past as well about funding. Yeah. So I'm sure we could sort something out.
That would be great. I'll email you. Thank you.
Cool. Is that all the questions? So everyone can get to the keynote. Great. Thank you, everybody.